I can hear you. Hello, everybody. It is Thursday night in Phoenix. This is the Absolute Geek broadcast coming live from the Valley of the Haboob Dust Storm. Introduce yourselves, fellas.
I'm Jose.
I'm Bryan from the flip side.
So how is the flip side going?
It's going good. It's going very good.
Oh, by the way, sorry, Bryan. You can't see somebody. Or you can't hear anybody. It's Matt.
I don't. Oh, that's right. I already forgot. So to everyone out there,
we all forgot
to introduce themselves. It was Matt. Matt has decided to go to Las Vegas, and he decided to go to a
furry convention.
A furry convention. He's dressed up as half horse, half octopus. He's a horse.
He's a horse with 8 legs or 9 legs.
So he's playing one full round of blackjack, and he's taking up every seat with all the arms. He's winning the big money. No, he went to what is it? EVO 3 or EVO or some kind of video game? I don't know what it is. Some video game competition.
Oh, this is a twink convention or something.
It's like a championship. It's like a fight, like a video game fighting competition.
A nerd convention.
A nerd convention. Welcome to the stink.
Oh yeah, that's where he is.
So that's why he's not here, and that's why it's the train wreck of second
our show.
So, the day without Matt, everybody.
The best day of the year. Oh man. Okay, sorry, Bryan.
So as I was saying before, is we had a hell of a haboob going through here right now. So if we actually lose service, that's probably what it is, because we have a wall of dust coming through the Valley of the Sunstroke.
Yeah, I got a warning maybe half an hour ago.
So how is everybody tonight?
Other than the heat and the death storm, I'm doing good.
Me too. Today was my last day at my place of work at that place. I'm going to another place that's a lot closer to my house. It's actually a quarter of a drive to my house. Instead of me driving 30 miles, I'll be driving about 12 miles.
That is fantastic.
So 30 miles with round trip is 60 miles. So with the new place, it's 50 miles. Round trip is 30.
Nice.
So
can't beat that.
But the thing that sucks, though, I'm going for 4 10s to 5 8s. I really I enjoyed that Friday off.
Right, I bet.
Yeah. It was so much better.
Well, yeah, you suffered a couple extra hours every day, but you got an extra day of relaxation.
Day off. Yep. The only thing that sucked was on Fridays I didn't really sleep in, which is stupid. So I would wake up, watch Netflix for a little bit, take a nap, watch Netflix again, do my chores, or not my chores, but
your chores. Your mom gets you money for doing chores.
My things I had to do that morning, get them all done before 12, come back, take a little nap, and then
then the day's over.
Yep. That's all day Friday. Oh, I hear the storm.
Yeah, it's getting ready to start hailing.
So Bryan, how is the Flip Side podcast going?
It's going really good. We're getting ready to change a few things up. Trying to start being a little bit more professional. If any of you guys have listened in the past,
so hard to do.
Yeah, we've kind of in the past we're just more along the lines of kind of like just a round table discussion of friends, less than a podcast. So now we're kind of just figuring out. We've been sent a few messages from our bosses saying you probably want to get this a little bit more professional because we're getting a little bit more interest. So
I've noticed CBSI has had a huge spike of followers on Facebook.
Yeah. It was like out of nowhere too, that I didn't even realize that we had a Facebook thing. I mean, I didn't, you did, but it was like all of a sudden, the Flip Side guys are like, "Hey, have you guys been on the Facebook site? We've got like thousands of followers on the Facebook site." And they're like, everybody else is like, "No, I didn't even know we had one." So
See, that's where I always seen the top 10 and you know, all the books of the week to look for. I always found it on Facebook. It always popped up on my Facebook, and that's where I've always looked. I never usually went to the G Plus always to look, unless I couldn't find it on Facebook, and then I can easier, you know, refer back to it on G Plus. But yeah, it always popped up like every Tuesday and Wednesday on my Facebook feed.
Yeah, it's crazy, and with Ben C taking over the comicbookinvest.com page. It's, if you guys have been long time lurkers and at CBSI, you'll notice it's kind of ramped up, and they're starting to try and be a little bit more professional and whatnot. So I guess I wouldn't be professional, but just trying to create the brand a little bit more. So trying to be a little bit more professional about things, and hopefully in the future, the flip side will get a little bit bigger, and we'll see where it takes us. So we're
you just take time and you just do your thing and do it well. I don't know. I like the whole round table, everyone just kind of bullshits thing. I like that better than.
It's kind of funny because, you know, I agree with you, but for some reason that whole round table feel and the 3-hour long podcast, and it just, for some reason, it doesn't work in the podcast world unless you're like Joe Rogan, you know what I mean? So with most podcasts, they want like a 90-minute podcast with segments and yada yada yada, and so we'll see.
Yeah, that's hard. That requires work and setup and prep and
exactly.
No, I mean, sometimes it's just what you have to do. So.
Well, we'll see. I mean, we're hoping it's looking like it might turn into some sponsors and some type of stuff in the future, and more shows. Hopefully, we can get away from the bi-weekly show or every other week show and do a weekly show, and, you know, make it a little bit more interesting. So we'll see. Be a little bit more like Absolute Geek.
And it is oh crap!
How's that? Huh?
That's called not having Matt around.
Yeah, what I was trying to do is, in case anybody came up on the live chat, I was bringing it back up so that I had it in another screen.
Ah, gotcha.
And I thought I had it muted, and I didn't.
Oops.
That's why Matt is our fearless leader.
Yeah, he's pretty good at this stuff, I have to admit.
Yeah, he makes it look easy. He really does. I have to give him a shout out to that. So I guess we got nothing better to do but actually get into it then, right?
Let's do it.
So the first thing I wanted to bring up was Edward Norton thinks no Marvel movies are as good as the Dark Knight trilogy.
And so, I'll agree with that.
It's different, though.
Yeah, they went on their own. But, I mean, he was even in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he had a real big problem with that movie. He after that movie came out, he kind of realized that was a whole waste of his time, and he planned on it being like his magnum opus. So
in any
his Rosebud.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I could say the entire trilogy. I could say the first two movies.
First and three. No, first two, sorry.
1 and 2 were awesome. 3, to me, it always seemed like, okay, they still had the whole Joker thing in their head, and I think it kind of leaked over where they had to have like the big intro, because, you know, like both movies, that's what they did. You know, they had the big one where they went into the mob bank, and then the other one they had that huge opening where they had that huge thing with, you know, taking down the plane and everything. Like, I think they were like when they were writing that script, they were stuck in a mindset that they couldn't get out of, and it's hard. I think the Joker, and I've said this a bunch of times, and I think the Joker brings it's like a muse to people. People can write the Joker so well, and I think other characters people have harder times writing.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that opening scene, they couldn't match that opening scene for the rest of the movie. That opening scene was amazing in both movies, but it's, for me, especially in the third one, I thought that whole plane scene was amazing, and the rest of the movie just kind of fell flat. But for me, But I agree with you, 1 and 2, especially 2. I don't think there's ever been a better comic book villain on screen than Heath Ledger's Joker. And the only other villain on screen that's better than Heath Ledger's Joker is Darth Vader, in my opinion. I think Heath Ledger's Joker was perfect. I don't think you can get much better than that.
No, I don't think so either. And because he nailed it, and I think that's always going to be the problem with the Joker, anyways. No matter who you compare it to, it's gonna that he had made it
That's
the pedestal.
pinnacle.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So
I think Norton's a little jealous, though, I imagine, because of what happened. Do you guys know about the backstory about that Hulk movie? So basically, that Hulk movie was like him going in there, and he had a lot to do with the script. He was going to have a lot to do with directing it, and he was like going to make this his like thing that he can come out and show everybody how great he is as a director / actor / scriptwriter / and he had a lot of big ideas. And I can't remember if it's through the editing process or through the end of the filming. It wasn't Marvel at the time. It was whoever was doing those movies. I can't remember because Marvel hadn't bought their movie studio thing yet. So whoever it was at the time was doing that said, no, we don't like what you're going with. It's either too expensive or too this or too that. So like a third of the way through the movie, they just gutted him. So that's kind of why that movie kind of fell a little flat. But he had some ideas, and when you go and do a little bit of research on it, it sounded like some of the stuff that he was talking about doing was really cool, but they just didn't want to put that much time and energy into it because I don't think at that time they had much, was Iron Man maybe had just come out after, before that, or was Iron Man even out? I can't remember.
I think Iron Man was already out. So I think it was still, I think they were still on Rocky Road. You know what I mean? Like getting going to the point where, where it would be now.
Yeah, and then they had the whole Eric Bana thing before it, so it was like a sequel without being a sequel. So Ed Norton definitely has a bad taste in his mouth over that whole thing. So I could see him trying to stick it to Marvel with these comments.
Yeah, it was
but
the same time.
Yeah, so
2008.
But I don't know.
So Unknown Reaper says Jose sucks. We want Bryan. And then he says Iron Man was out before Hulk. So because I think Iron Man was kind of the initiator of everything.
Yeah, but it was the catalyst.
Yeah,
what started rolling.
Yeah, but I just, what he should do is he should play in a DC movie.
Oh God! So he should more,
or he should pull a Chris Evans and play another character, and then everybody will love him.
Yep.
So someone's telling me on.
There it is.
Oh, it's Matt. Matt is spying on us through the YouTube app, and he says you can't hear Jose.
Oh God. So Iron Man was released in April, and Incredible Hulk was released June.
There we go.
So
For May. Yeah, it was released in May. Iron Man, sorry.
Well, what about Eric Bana's Hulk? When was that? That was released.
Let's see.
That was the first Hulk. When was that released?
2003.
That was before Iron Man.
Let's see. Produced, story based, starring Eric Bana. Yeah, 2003.
Interesting.
2003.
5 years before. Because they used remember the Easter egg from Iron Man at the end was like a thing from Hulk. And so it must have been the Banner one. Because they used like parts of the I guess the movie or whatever to show like Hulk's alive and they're sharing like the same universe.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, it sounds like he's a little angry about something.
Yeah, he's probably got. Yeah. Let's see. Any more from the Peanut Gallery, Kyle?
Now they can't hear Kyle.
Oh.
No, I was sorry. I was off doing something.
I thought it was interesting the whole Red Robin thing that is coming on. What do you think about that, Kyle?
What was that?
With his new outfit and everything
Fuck
that's
Batman.
going. What's that?
No, fuck Batman.
Yeah. No, the new hood mask, red hood mask, costume and emblem.
I was going to bring that up. That they actually, that's actually my next story. They took a lot of his mask off, so he's like pretty much looks like you know what I mean. He pretty much should just have a hanky over his mouth.
Right.
Because it's kind of what they did. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's kind of weird. They almost make him look like a ninja, and I like the mask. Like
their own, yeah. It was more of an intimidation factor instead of like just something barely covering them up. Which I don't know if they're really are they leaning towards like he's giving that I don't care if you know who I am attitude.
Well, he looks kind of cool with the way he has the eye part, and just the mask and the eye part with his eyes being red. I thought that was pretty cool, and I love how he's got the crowbar. Has he always had the crowbar?
No, I think that's something that he has now.
I think that is awesome. I mean,
he almost has it like it's a sword, like he could pull it out from his, you know what I mean, and just
and that totally makes sense. Like he was quote unquote killed by the crowbar, and that whole Joker crowbar scene is such a big deal. Let's give it to him as now he's using it. That's going to be his weapon. I mean, that's perfect.
Marvel has a character with crowbar.
Who's that?
The Wrecker.
I couldn't even tell you.
He has a magical crowbar. He's actually had the first appearance. I bought it at San Diego Comic-Con. He has a magical crowbar, and his first appearance was in Thor number 148, and he's in a group called the Wrecking Crew.
Obviously that didn't work too well.
Yep, he was in what comic was that? It was a series. The New Avengers. He was in that. When they restarted the New Avengers with Wolverine, the Sentry, the Spider-Woman.
Was he part of the group that blew up in whatever that town was? When what's his name?
No,
tried to
that's Civil War.
Yeah, okay.
That's Civil War. But it was in when they revamped the New Avengers. He was in that, and that series was actually pretty good.
Which one? He wasn't in the one that Cassidy drew and Ben.
No, it was Finch.
Okay.
It was Finch. Let's see, who else was it? I forgot who else was in that. Let me look it up really quick.
But what do you think the idea of Jason Todd outing Batman to Penguin and then killing Penguin afterwards?
That's weird. I didn't know about that. That's
so what it's saying here is in issue 24, not only did it appear as though Red Hood straight up killed Penguin, one of Batman's oldest enemies, on live TV. In the process, they admit he may have given away Bruce Wayne's secret identity just before he shot Oswald Cobblepot right in the face.
Wow.
That's interesting, isn't it? I mean, that's
awesome. I mean, that makes me realize I got to start reading that. What is that comic he's in? Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yeah, and that'll be in issue 26. Which comes out in September, so I guess it's been spoiled.
Oh no!
But I mean, that makes me want to pick it up and actually back read a little bit and catch up to see what's going on with it now.
Well, I think that the whole thing they did with Jason Todd. First of all, a lot of people don't remember this, but when Hush acted like he was Jason Todd back in that Hush storyline. Kind of, I think, gave them the idea to bring Jason Todd back. That was genius. And then bringing him back and making him Red Hood is one of the greatest ideas that they ever did. I think that at the same time of doing the whole Damian storyline had really made those characters be better than Tim. What's his name?
Drake.
Tim Drake. Yeah, like Tim Drake used to be the one that everybody liked, and now Tim Drake has become the Jason Todd. Now everybody's about Jason Todd and Damian. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird how that flipped.
I think everyone's liking the edgier, dickish side of people now.
Yeah.
You know, because they're both more aggressive characters.
Yeah.
When and like Dick and Tim they're not as aggressive. So I just think it's more enjoyable having these more aggressive characters.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be awesome.
So while we're speaking of Batman, what do you think? So the new rumor of the new Batman movie is that it's going to be an older Bruce Wayne talking about a younger Batman, which I think old man Batman. I still think it would be better if they're just going to do that. What they need to just do is Batman Beyond.
Well,
I think that would be better.
I think the reason they're doing that though is not to bring in the future Batman. It's so he can talk about old stories without having to be in a timeline. You know what I mean? He can be like, back in my day. Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't have to be part of the timeline. That means anybody can write Batman movies, and it doesn't have to mesh with what's going on in Justice League. So,
because I mean they're about to film. They're finishing up the script for it. But yeah, they said it would give him it would give him the movie discussing his younger years with the it's given the ability to have a different younger actor in there. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, and you're right. That can gives it more of an open way to be able to you can do any Batman. You're right, without having it to be in the timeline. They can. So now it's not just this weird oddity of this movie just out here in left field. It still keeps it connected, but they can still do whatever they want.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that's what a lot of these movie studios are having a problem with, where they're trying to do the whole Marvel thing where they create a timeline and
a world.
It's a world, and it's just not working for DC. And instead of doing a whole, let's just restart, and keep restarting these timelines, because that's ridiculous. Nobody wants to see an origin story for Batman again.
Yeah. And they've already said they're not doing one. So yeah. It's kind of like Spider-Man. We got it. We know what happens.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. We've seen it more than once. We're good.
Yep. Twice? Is it twice or 3 times?
What they've done Origin Day? I know they've done it twice for sure.
Twice, yeah.
It's probably like 4 or 5 times. Shit.
Well, stuff from the 70s.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it would be I guess it would be kind of cool. Like, you picture an old Ben Affleck sitting back at a fire, and he's got his hands up, and he's clinking his fingers together, and he's got some scotch next to him. He decides to tell a story.
Got the big ass,
like it's Christmas Eve or something.
Marionette, Alfred,
the big ass Great Dane. I always liked the future, the Batman Beyond, just because he had that big ass badass Great Dane, chilling with him.
I heard they were doing talks where DC's actually doing talks of they're doing movies about their animals too. Like that's in talks.
Oh, Bat Dog.
To me, that almost seems like it would be like scraping the bottom of the barrel now. And there's so many awesome stories. Why do you let's wait till it's crashing and burning before we go that far.
Yeah.
Just like this story is so they want to do a Harley Quinn movie every year.
Oh God.
Well, I know that seems like a lot, but man, they have some really good storylines they can pull off, and that's a huge character. And
we should just do a TV show.
I mean, because they've already got the ones we've all talked about. The few movies that we know she's going to be in. I mean, that's 3. That's 3 movies already. They're going to do Suicide Squad 2, and it's going to be a Joker and Harley movie.
Is that what it is? Is that for sure?
That's kind of what they were saying in this article. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Is it going to be Leto?
See, it's Suicide Squad 2, a Joker and Harley film.
With the stupid tattoos.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Jared Leto?
I'm assuming that it is, because it would be kind of weird.
Perfect.
It would be kind of weird to put somebody else in there after they've already established him in the first Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they have a lot they can build on with the whole powerful woman, because the thing that people aren't talking about a lot with Harley right now is the Joker really fucked her up. I mean, the stuff that he did to her in some of the comics is pretty hardcore, and they could really play off that right now with the whole Me Too thing going on and being like, this is a powerful woman, look what she did. She came back and she ended the Joker relationship, and when she was, they can play that type of role and still make it really dark and really powerful at the end. I'm surprised they didn't try and do that with the first movie.
I thought they kind of tried, but I thought they chopped it up so bad that it didn't end up being like that.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of cool, would be to actually, focus home. I guess they can't really. I guess it would be all kinds of
it'd be R-rated, that's for sure.
Yeah, and yep. I think it would cause so much controversy. I don't ever think it would be. I mean, just think if that one Batgirl cover couldn't even make it to light, how are they going to do a whole entire movie that
the two afraid
that can infer anything? You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's the only problem with that would be. So,
because the one thing with like Deadpool movie, the Deadpool movies, and what's the other one that came out that's R-rated? Can't even think right now.
One just recently, right?
Yeah. For some reason, I can't think of it.
What, besides Deadpool?
Yeah. Is there something else that came out that's R-rated? That's comic book movie? Damn, I can't even think.
I don't think so.
But like that one took chances. We saw
Wolverine.
Basically, yeah, Wolverine. Yeah, there we go. They were taking chances with, like, in Deadpool, he was pegged. Can you imagine a DC movie that has that getting pegged?
Yeah, they wouldn't be able.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy, but it worked for Deadpool because of the story. But something like that, DC would probably avoid it. They wouldn't have it.
Do you think it'd be weird if they did one Joker Harley Quinn movie that had Jared Leto in one, and then they did another one that had Joaquin Phoenix in it?
Yeah,
I think that would be kind of weird if they. I think it'd be really weird if they did that.
Yeah, I agree.
But do you think that if they did like maybe, I don't know, more of an origin type movie that they had her? I don't know. They couldn't. Could they really even do that?
Yeah.
I think that was the whole point of Suicide Squad, and that's what like you were saying, that's all the stuff they chopped was that origin that was really dark and really scary. And she even came out and said that it was hard to film those scenes with him because he was so scary in those scenes where he was totally, wrapping her up in a ball of yarn and, playing with her and,
pegging her.
Whatever. There's that really dark stuff that he did to make her,
who she is,
almost like cult leader type stuff, that he had to do to make her, to turn her into who she is. Yeah. So that stuff to me would make such a better movie than any of the ridiculousness that they're talking about. So
it would be cool if they, in X amount of years, maybe when people lightened up a little bit more, or we have a change of culture to where they can re-release the movie, like on DVD, like maybe for like the 5th anniversary or 8th anniversary or something, and they could do a new extended cut that they went back through and they, you know what I mean, and this is the movie that we originally going to do before we chopped everything up. It's got,
totally made it bad.
It's got 37 more minutes of Joker, footage in it that's in the movie. I think that might be kind of cool. That's, instead of saying like outtakes and cutouts, but actually part of the movie.
They should release that movie anyways. I mean, the whole Zack Snyder, right? Who was it that did the original Suicide Squad and they cut so much of it?
Oh,
anyways, they should release both of those. The Zack Snyder Justice League, the Suicide Squad. They should release all that stuff because people want to see it. They're going to pay to see it.
Yep.
So David Ayer, did he do it first?
David Ayer.
See the second one.
Yeah, he did it first, and then they recut it
it went to Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
Zack
and he
Snyder.
ruined
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they recut it to be more like
Shittier.
funny rock music.
It wasn't funny.
Yeah.
They should have kept it super dark.
Yep. You should have picked a lane and stuck with it. Pick a lane.
So what do you guys think? Now I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. They're going to re-release in theaters the 1986 Transformers movie.
That'd be awesome. I can't wait to see it.
The cartoon.
The original one?
Dope.
So we get to go to the movies and see Optimus Prime die again.
That shocked the world.
So our hearts get to break all over again.
Oh. How many of us?
But we
have seen
do
it in
get
the
to see them
theater?
dance to Weird Al.
Right. This is a happy place.
I mean, do you think that's going to drum up anger? You're going to be like,
No, nobody.
No.
Honesty.
You can't be angry at that. It's like having the original Teenage Mutant Turtles play. Everybody will fall in love and probably watch it again.
Yeah.
At the theaters.
I mean, when was the last time you guys have seen it?
God, probably
A long time ago.
Since you were a little kid.
Yeah. So I don't know if it aged well. That's a problem then.
And we're going to find out in theaters.
Well, I watched the G.I. Joe one when what's his name was Falcon. The Miami Vice guy was Falcon, and had Burgess Meredith as Globulus. I don't know if you guys remember that. It's the same, came out at the same time, and I rewatched that, and it was so bad, it was unreal. So, and as a kid, I remember thinking that movie was one of the baddest things ever. So.
See, that's what I'm worried about with Transformers. It's you put these things you remember as a kid. It's on this pedestal.
Yep. I did that with the Sliders. Remember Sliders, the show?
Yeah, that was a good show.
It was a good show. It was a good show. And then I watched it, and it was shitty. And I was like, all right, I better just leave the nostalgic goggles on and not watch it again. It was really bad.
That always sucks when you have something like that. It's stuck in your head, and you remember it being great, and you're watching, you're going, this is garbage.
Yep.
Why did they?
I like this shit.
That brings up a good question. Can you guys name anything that was you really, really loved, when you were young, and that you watched again and it was good?
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, I'm talking about like really young. You know what I mean? Like when I was a kid. Perfect example. When I was a kid, that movie, The Exorcist, scared the living piss out of me.
You laugh now?
Even till this day, if I am like getting ready to crash out in a dark room and I think of that face of The Exorcist and the face, I like kind of get freaked out. But, and like gotta like crack the door a little bit, like a little child. But here's the funny thing. My buddy's like, dude, no, you just trust me. You just got to watch it. And I watched it, and it was hysterically laughable. It was so bad.
Yep.
It isn't scary anymore, but still, I'm still scared of it. You know what I mean? Like when I see it in my mind's eye. But when I watch it, it's really bad. So I can't think of anything that was still good from when we were kids. That was even good back then. Like, sorry, there's one. Pee-wee Herman's Big Adventure.
That movie's cool.
Yeah,
it's so cheesy, but it's good.
Yeah, that's why it's good, because it was even cheesy back then.
Yep, and you knew it was going to be cheesy.
Yes.
One thing. You had The Exorcist. I had Pumpkinhead.
Oh yes.
Oh,
dude, that movie fucked me up forever. It took me a long time to build the courage up for some reason to watch that movie again. Like I remember watching it, and I remember it freaking me out.
Yeah, that dude was creepy. That big fucking monster. Oh, that thing.
It was hard for me to watch again. But one thing that I still liked when I watched it again was Voltron.
Yeah,
like the original cartoon or the movie.
Yeah, the original cartoon.
Yeah,
like it's still cool. But like but like Thundercats.
Cheesy.
It's
Yeah,
very cheesy.
and I remember it being super
Rhino.
awesome. And I don't remember there being so many like underlying messages.
Yeah.
There was a lot of it in that, and I didn't remember that in it, and I was kind of bummed when I was watching it again. I actually shut it off because it was one of the things that I was like, I shouldn't have watched it again because it ruined it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how that nostalgia button works with
The
some
goggles. Yeah.
it definitely rules my collecting habits.
That's why I haven't read Giant Size X-Men 1.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's not that bad.
Because Wolverine 180, 181, 182
Are bad.
Yeah. It's really bad. I read it once. I'm like, all right, well, that's enough for me. I'm not going to do that again.
Well, like New Mutants '98. That's not a very good one either.
No.
Well,
that's cheesy.
That's another perfect example of the character not becoming the character we love till later down the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Deadpool didn't become Deadpool until Joe Casey started. I think it was Joe Casey. I know I've talked about it before. Started writing it. So like some characters need like a gestation period. You know, like I was listening to Unpressable the other day, and they were talking about Lobo. You know, Lobo when he first came out was really freaking cheesy, and it wasn't until Keith Giffen and was it Paul McGuire? I can't remember who did the that Justice League, the Green Lantern, Guy Gardner Justice League, that where he punches Batman. Anyway, that run wasn't until Lobo became the badass Lobo. You know, so there's
love.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters that need that gestation period to get kind of fleshed out. So, very few characters just become what we love and right away. Perfect example is Jason Todd. I mean, everybody hated Jason Todd up until he became Red Hood. They thought he was cheesy.
So, what do you think of them bringing back Alf? Now, we all watched that when we were kids.
Yeah, but that was
voice though.
Yeah, that was more along the lines of when we were kids. So that was almost like the Simpsons even though Simpsons was out at the time, it was like that whole, you know, a lot of the
craze.
Yeah, a lot of the jokes in there we didn't get at the time.
Well, it's like with Golden Girls. When I was younger, I'd see it and I'd be like, oh, it's 4 old ladies. And the jokes flew over my head. Now that I'm older and I watched it, I'm like, they're saying this shit. It's incredible what they're saying. And
because they're talking about rebooting Alf. So do you think it's going to hold up like it? Because it only was a couple seasons, wasn't it? Like 4 or 5 seasons originally.
Well, that's so weird. They can't reboot it anywhere near the same, right? I mean, it's going to look totally different. Are they going to use the same character?
I mean, they said Alf is bringing back his cat appetite back to Earth with the reboot of the classic '80s.
It was 4 seasons.
Well, is it going to be a major network or just like is this like Nick at Night type thing?
I think they're doing. Said they're. It just says Warner Brothers is bringing it back.
The voice of Alf is still alive.
Because they did 102 episodes.
Wow, that's quite a long, right? I mean,
it ended in 1990.
There's only like 12 episodes a season. Sci-Fi, is that where it's going to be on?
I think so.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because I remember he did like a talk show for a couple years.
Yeah, that was pretty funny actually.
Yeah,
man, 4 seasons, 102 episodes.
That's a lot.
Those are long seasons.
25 episodes. That's like regular seasons.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's around there.
Well, the only thing I could say about Alf that's so amazing is that really hard to find issue where he looks like he's screwing a seal on the cover.
Yeah. From what's it called? Oh, that
48
magazine
of the Marvel series. So Alf, they did a Marvel series for Alf, and there's a cover if anybody wants to look it up. It's issue number 48, where he thinks that I don't know what he's doing, but on the cover, it's totally like him screwing the seal. And
That's funny.
Being pegged and didn't realize it. You know what I mean? He's got the face of horror, and Alf is on.
Oh my god!
Yeah, right.
You find it?
No, Alf was on Matlock. Alf was on Blossom.
I remember.
Yes.
I don't remember that episode. I'm gonna look that up.
But some of those Alf comics have some really funny covers. So anybody out there checking those out,
It even says "Hurry up already."
yeah,
On the cover, it totally looks like he's running a seal from behind.
Yeah, right. And I think there's a caution. Is there a caution thing that says like caution on it?
This is caution: do not buy if safety seal is missing.
Yeah.
It's Alf 48.
Yeah.
50. Yeah. That's awesome.
So
that is so.
Okay,
I gotta go online and buy that right now.
Blossom is was having a dream, and she had a stuffed animal of Alf, and she's in heaven dreaming, and Alf is on the desk and talking. That's funny.
what was his? I remember he had a girlfriend, right? That he was always trying to contact. And then did she come back one episode or something? I can't remember.
Let's see.
Getting crazy thinking about that funny stuff.
I remember when I was a kid, I would watch Alf, and then my bedtime would be right after Alf. Because I would love Alf, because I told my parents I loved Alf, and I always had to watch it. So before I went to bed, I was always have to watch it and go to bed after it. I was so sad.
He's so sad.
Oh, girlfriend. What? Coming up.
Rhonda.
Yeah.
That was his girlfriend, was Rhonda.
Rhonda?
Yeah. From Melmac.
Yeah.
Getting Shumways with his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't really think. I mean, I think it's just gonna get. I think a lot of people are gonna watch it for nostalgia's sake.
Oh yeah.
And
unless
check
it's
it
funny,
out.
then it'll stick around. If they make it topical.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, of course. They have to.
Maybe he'll be scared of Trump.
Maybe he'll talk crap about Trump. He can't pull the same thing as Roseanne, though. Has to watch out for that.
That poor lady. She's fucking crazy.
That season was so funny. Even though they're topical, like, and some things were like weird, but it was good. I mean, the way they presented it, it was still like the old show, but it was updated and it was nice.
Yeah, it gave the feel of the original show, but it was
updated.
But it had a new flavor to it.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
What do you think about them doing a prequel to the Sandlot?
I always thought they should have done something more with the Sandlot years, ago. That was.
But what kind of prequel would they do? All the kids moving to the neighborhood prior to how they formed their little baseball league. Their baseball group. I mean, what would the prequel be?
Well, that's why I don't see how they could do the prequel, because the catalyst to that whole movie was what's his name moving into the neighborhood, right?
That was my argument when I was talking about it the other night. Yeah, that's what initiates it. He moves into the neighborhood and he meets these kids, and then they hit the Babe Ruth baseball over the fence, and I mean that was the bond of them with those kids, and so, it was like the summer of all summers for them.
Yep. That was, you know what? There's a perfect movie. I watched that movie not too long ago, and that movie kind of still holds up. So that movie was still good.
Oh, that movie's super good.
Yeah. So there's a perfect answer for that question of movies that still hold up. That's one of them.
Like, I mean, I still think like Goonies holds up. Sandlot holds up.
Yeah. I don't understand why they never did something extra with Sandlot. That was just such a good setup to do. They could have really done some cool stuff with that.
Yeah, but I've been talking about it for 2 days, trying to figure out what the hell can they do a prequel about, and nothing really comes to mind.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yep.
So, so they're gonna do a Craven the Hunter standalone movie.
So is that going to be live action?
Yeah,
That's they should have brought Craven in for a long time.
Yeah.
So what do you think about them did like with no Spider-Man?
They're going to set it up. You know what I mean? That's their whole thing. They're trying to set up these villains before, right? They're doing Morbius, they're doing Venom, they're going to do Craven. They're trying to set up these villains before they
introduce the big guy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So what does that do to like spec wise?
I think that those Craven books have always been something that people look for.
They've always been sought after anyway.
He's a good character.
Yeah, great character, and especially
Yep.
that whole Mike Zeck run. I can't remember who the writer was. The writer should get more respect, but that whole Death of Craven storyline is one of the best storylines in comics. So that will always be something that people want, and hopefully this will add a little fuel to the fire. So it's always fun to see something kind of like, shoot a little bit of steroid juice into the spec game, because sometimes just the littlest of information can make those old school books just fly off the shelf.
So what would be the books to look for then for anybody that's looking for the...
Well, definitely the Death of Craven storyline, which they did one issue, and I think one or maybe 2 issues in all the Spider-Man titles at the time. They did it was like a storyline, so it'll say Death of Craven or whatever the Craven. I can't remember what they called it, but issue 1 or storyline number 1. So those are definitely the ones to get. Most people who collect comics know those books.
Yeah.
Iconic Mike Zeck covers. So those are definitely the ones to get. Obviously his first appearance. There's a couple of really good. One book that a lot of people are going to be specking on that he's not even in is the first appearance of his daughter, because I could see them using her storyline as of a character in the movies. You know what I mean? So she kind of comes and takes over the mantle. So pick up her first appearance. Yeah. So he's also part of the Sinister Six, right? So
Yeah.
maybe that's why they're doing. Obviously, they're trying to form the Sinister Six, and
Before they do,
do them all one at a time and then mesh them together.
Yep.
Yep.
That would be smart on that part.
Craven's Last Hunt. That's the one to read again.
And of course, his first appearance.
Yeah. His first appearance is always going to be a big book, but
yep.
It's always nice to throw a little spec juice in the game.
In the cauldron.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking pre-show about a couple of books that have gotten really crazy over the last couple of days, and for some reason, out of nowhere, Doctor Strange issue 44, I believe it is getting some talk about it being a first appearance of one of Donny Cates' characters that he's talking about in the Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider storyline. Sidorak, the guy who it's the jewel that gives Juggernaut his powers, right? Is that what it is?
Yep.
So Sidorak jewel gives Juggernaut his powers. Well, in this issue of Doctor Strange, if I remember correctly, they go and they do something where they see Sidorak's bones. And I think Donny Cates made some kind of comment about that being some kind of catalyst to this new character. And it might even be the whole, I think it was a joke character that they talked about in a Marvel meeting, to Donny Cates making a Howard the Duck Juggernaut mesh, and he said, I'll do it, and he did it. So that book instantly shot up overnight to a $50 book. I mean, that was a $1 book and the only reason I had 3 copies was it was one of the books that they did a tie-in for the Infinity War storyline, and Kyle knows this. I pick up the Infinity War, the Infinity Gauntlet, and then the last one was the Infinity Crusade. They did tie-ins in a lot of the other books, and there's in the top right corner of every cover, it'll say Infinity tie-in. So I just pick those up every time I see them as $1 books to sell them in sets when the Infinity Gauntlet came out, and luckily it paid off. But that was one of the ones where I hadn't sold it as a set yet because it was part of the Infinity Crusade or the Infinity War, not the Infinity Gauntlet. So I was just selling Infinity Gauntlet once. But anyways, I had 3 copies sitting around in a box, and I saw that people were talking about them. So I went on eBay, and this is a perfect example of the spec game. I went on eBay last night. There was a couple up there, and they were going for like $50. So I put them up there, buy it now for $48, and they sold within 15 minutes. There's a $1 book being turned into a $50 book overnight. And
it's a Chris Claremont story.
Yep. So that's a perfect example. And sure enough, you never know. I mean, that in 2 more days, he might come out with a comment saying, no, it has nothing to do with that. Or he might come out and say something else, and that shoots it to a $200 book. But there's a perfect example of these guys playing to the spec market. And I think that they kind of have to in order to, make the comic market a little bit stronger, because it's really hurting right now for a lot of these local shop owners and everything that's going on. So,
well, according to what's his name, to Dan DiDio, it's because there's an oversaturation in the direct market.
See, an idiot. That guy's a moron.
Is that him? Do you think that's him justifying, hey, we want to sell more in Walmart and more mainstream? That's his way of trying to.
That's exactly what it is. You're 100% right. You hit it on the head. That's him. Yep. Everybody getting angry. Perfect example is me and Kyle go to a local comic shop. Jose knows the guy, and he decided he got so angry about all these major comics subscribe companies saying, we're not gonna stand behind the local comic shop owner. We're gonna put books in GameStop. We're gonna put books in Walmart. And this comic shop owner, that was one of his reasons to say, you know what, then I'm not going to sell new issues anymore. And you can't keep taking away from the little guy, because that's what drove,
butter.
Yeah, that's what drove your market. That's what made you what you are. These comic shop owners, these local guys that are working their ass off, grinding it out to make a couple of dollars on a book that they might not even sell. So he's going to get a lot of backlash, and he's kind of seeing the future of that, because that guy has put his foot in his mouth a lot. Being the head of DC, he was the editor for DC forever. And yeah, they were going through a lot of major cool stuff, Scott Snyder era, the Jeff Johns era when he was there, but it has nothing to do with him. I believe that guy's such a moron. It's unreal.
Because I mean, how do the I think what makes it, I don't think they're the ones making the oversaturation. I think it's these comic book stores, or like the Marvel and DC and stuff, and Diamond, everyone telling everybody, okay, to get this book, you have to order a lot of this book. So they're having to serve their customers. They're having to do all these hoops that they have to jump through.
Yes.
And I think their own greed is now it's trickling down, and it's affecting the local comic book store guy.
Yes.
Because hey, we want you to order 8,000 of this book that'll never sell, so that you can get this book. And I think that's where a lot of it comes. I think it's because they're forcing the hand of these comic book store owners to do that. Because you know how hard it is for a comic book store to go, sorry, we couldn't order that book for you. We couldn't order 8,000% of this book you don't want, so you can have this one book that you want. And I think that's hard for a lot of comic book store owners to have to tell their customers, because then they it drives them away to go other places. But having them in Walmart and having them in GameStop, your local, your monthly, weekly person that buys it, they're not going to go to GameStop. They're going to get the guy to go, oh, that's kind of a cool cover. Oh, I'll pick that up. And then they will never buy another comic book again.
Yeah.
And that's what's thinking that putting it out to the mass media like that. I think it's like you're not going to go to Walmart to buy comic books. You don't think of it.
Yeah.
Right? You're shopping for food. So
Or clothes.
Yeah, or a car battery or something else.
Or something that's not like compared to it.
Because I mean, in the article, you're saying that comic book sales were down in 2017. And
that'd be interesting to look at the reason he's saying that, right?
Yeah.
Let me see what it says again.
It's oversaturated.
It says it said a direct market is oversaturated comic books, which may have led to a decline in the sales from 2016 to 2017. It says he said, my fear is that there's probably an oversaturation of product. If you're looking at the numbers, we're looking at 400 new periodicals a month. I can't even imagine the number of collections that come out a month. It's overwhelming. That's what he was saying. He said DC published 73 original comics and Marvel did 83. And then with the North American market as a whole producing 437. And it's just
Well, the prices are getting crazy now. Like I remember buying 1013 brand new or the newsstands. It was like $1.50, and now it's like $4. It's crazy.
I mean, like even like what maybe Spider-Man 800 whatever was it like $10?
Yeah, it's crazy. And they always do that. Like they mark like a big event for a comic, like let's say like Spider-Man whatever was $10. So the next comics after that will come out at $7. Before that was like $4. So like pushing the envelope with the prices with like big stuff like that comes out. It's like testing the waters first and see if how many people buy it, and then they go higher for the next one to see if people will buy that. That's how it's always been.
I think part of it, I think he's saying that just the, maybe, what they expected, because all the movies are out. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I think it's oversaturation of it's in your face everywhere. So you don't have, like we were talking about before, you don't even have to go into a comic book store to get a comic book. You just go online. You know what I mean? I think people are fine. There's all these different medias to find it. I think people don't have to walk in places anymore. And I think that's, and I think that's just him trying to, I think he's just covering his ass pretty much.
Yeah.
Because that's just what I think. So, well, let's see. What else you guys got? You guys got anything else?
What about San Diego? I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk much to Jose about. I mean, you guys probably already talked about it last week, but how was it, man?
It was a lot of fun. I saw Sin of Grace. He did like a little signing. He was a little late, but it was cool because while I was waiting, they had like the cast from the Gifted. And then Michael Rooker did an appearance there. So like he was 10 feet away and he was talking, and that was pretty cool. A couple things that they changed, like remember Kyle, where that street in front of the con, not the one where the buses were, the one like the major street.
That
was closed
across the street. Oh, really?
It was all closed.
Gaslamp.
That's actually good because there was so much traffic.
Harbor.
Okay.
There was so much traffic having to cross the street. It was crazy.
Yep. So they closed Harbor down. The only time Harbor was kind of full was when trains were crossing the train tracks. But for the most part, it was open and people can walk across to Gaslamp. from the con. They used Harbor for like the shuttles. That's all they were used for. And
Well, that's good too, because trying to get out sometimes, sitting on a shuttle, you were sitting on that bus forever.
Yep.
Just waiting, and then you were constantly stuck in so much traffic. I think it probably kept the flow of the in and out going better.
It was nice. So the streets, the street right next, like in front of the con, it was closed so people can walk on it. But the thing that I noticed that nobody walked on it because they were expecting like shuttles or cars to drive up.
Yeah, because that's what usually goes on.
Yeah, but the main street, Harbor Street, was where they were using shuttles, and the little street, like the parking, like the drop-off place, was closed, so people could walk on it, but they didn't because they were expecting, I guess, shuttles or whatever.
Probably because for so many years, as soon as you would even started to take a foot off, somebody was screaming at you to get back on the sidewalk.
So this whole time, it's funny because everybody was walking on the sidewalk and nobody was walking the street because it was closed, obviously, and nobody was walking. It's kind of weird to see an empty street where you can walk on, nobody can walk, or nobody did.
And I was talking to somebody yesterday about because how to get autographs, they did a drawing.
Yes.
Which I thought was stupid because you already, you know what I mean? Like, what do they say?
Buy your tickets.
Yeah, you already lucked out and you already won the gamble of being able to purchase tickets to go there.
Yeah.
And then you had to not only have lightning strike once, now you have to have lightning strike twice.
Yeah, to get your tickets.
And to get tickets. Exclusive. So yeah, to do anything you had to have luck on top of luck, which there's people like me who have no luck on top of less luck. And like I was talking to somebody about it, and the argument was, well, they should just let people who have full events be able to get autographs. And I said, well, that's not fair to all the people that were 7 minutes into the thing and Thursday is sold out. So how is that fair to them? Just because certain people automatically get full event tickets. But what about the person who lucked out and just got that Sunday ticket? So now that, just because, they didn't have the hookup or the connection or the ability to buy the 4-day ticket in the beginning, they should have to suffer and not be able to get it because they're not cool enough to have a 4-day pass.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the way that it should be is the way that they've done it in 4 years. You plan your trip. You plan,
first come, first serve.
You do first cut. Okay, what do you really want to do? That's what you're going to make a point to do. So if you say, okay, I want to meet these 10 people, but realistically, I'll probably only get to meet 4.
Yeah.
So you just shoot for whatever you can get. And you know that, okay, if I go for 10, then I have a pretty good percentage of getting 40% of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to do it, is because it's not luck. It's a little bit of luck, but you're not hoping in a virtual drawing with people who don't even give a shit about that person. Now people are just in line to get stuff just to get stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that deters away from. I think that helps deter away to what the point of a comic book type convention is, where you get to meet your favorite artists and writers and people. Now they're making it so that it's not about this interaction. It's just about it seems to be more business than it is. And of course it's a business. It's there to make money. That's what it's for. But
yeah.
But the allure
the line.
Yeah, the allure of being able to actually just go up and meet, God, thank you for writing this. Thank you for drawing this. You don't get to do that now because, they made it an open drawing. So, people just went in just to do it just for shits and giggles. I just got this just because I can get it. I think that takes away from the fun of what a comic book convention is.
Yeah. It's not even comic book anymore.
No, and most of them aren't. And I think that's a big problem. And you know what I mean? Now, and I get it. It's busy. There has to be handlers. There's so much going on. But they need to find this middle ground that where you get to actually, meet these people that you know what I mean, you're helping pay their paycheck. So that's what grinds my gears. No.
Well, so you met Cena Grace, and what else? Cool. I mean,
I got a couple commissions. I saw a bunch of really cool like TV shows that are coming on Netflix. They had a booth of just this like it reminds me of D&D, and it's I saw the trailer afterwards. It's called Disenchanted, and it's the same maker from the Matt Groening from The Simpsons.
yeah.
So
And
they had
it
an
has
article come out that said Netflix was actually giving him more freedom and than Fox ever did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Isn't that kind of crazy to think that they're, after all this time, you think like Fox would have the red carpet out for him to do whatever he wants.
Imagine how much money he brought already to Fox.
He helped build it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like the voices in Disenchanted, just to give you an idea, is Billy West, which is Fry, from Futurama, Eric Andre. You know who that is? Eric Andre.
Mm-hmm.
John DiMaggio, Bender.
Hmm?
And then everybody knows David Herman, Tress McNeil. So like names that are like out there that and the trailer looks funny. The show's called Disenchanted. Or Disenchantment. There we go.
When's it going to start?
August 17th. So in 15 days.
Interesting.
So I'm kind of excited to see it. I'm really excited to see it.
Very cool.
It'll be funny. Yeah.
So, did you get any exclusives? Any cool exclusives?
I looked through all the exclusives, the really hard exclusives that you really like wanted or everybody wanted. It was a drawing, so I didn't do those. I guess the mass produced, if I could say it, exclusives. The only one I really wanted was a Golden Girls shirt with all 4 Golden Girls, and they were howling at the moon. So that's the only thing I really wanted.
Did you get any? What sketches did you get?
I got 4. They're all hella. One of them was from Cena Grace. Another one was from JP Fosgett. The other guy, I forgot his name. His first name is Bob. And the other one, I don't remember. But I put him on Facebook.
So was it worth going just for that one day?
Yep. It's always worth to me because I enjoy people watching. I saw the original cover for, oh shoot, what was it? The actual drawn original cover for, I forgot which one it was. There's so many original art there.
I remember the first year going to, you walk by some of those booths and they got 10 first Action Comics #1s.
Yeah. I have a picture of that still.
Yeah. So
I didn't see that. Like I just saw like Amazing Fantasy 15. I saw one copy, like it was a 3.5 of Action Comics 1. What else? A lot of like original art from X-Men. I was looking at some what's it called? What's it called? The drawing board for the art for the books. And I was thinking of buying one, but it was like $400. I was like, never mind. God, there were just so many things. It was so cool. The X-Men number, was it 127? So I saw the original art for that. It was $15,000.
wow.
Let's see. the original cover for original or Super Friends.
Yeah.
That was $4,000.
Oh, I would have bought that, man. I would have bought that.
What's that Batman where Killing Joke? Is it Killing Joke? They had original like a page from it. It was $75,000.
What page was it?
It was the one where he was in the rain and he goes to the Arkham Asylum and he walks in. It's on my Facebook page.
I think that what's his name doesn't really give out original art ever, so that's why it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Brian Bolland.
Yeah, Ian or whatever.
Huh?
Or yeah.
Brian Bolland.
Yeah, Brian Bolland. I saw Avengers #1, the original comic is slabbed. It was $9, and it was going for $25,000.
Wow.
And then go ahead.
So expensive.
Yeah, like I saw a lot of like rare, hard to find books, and it was just amazing. Like the first appearance of Mr. Freeze, it was a 8.5 slabbed. It was going for $18,000.
I don't understand why that book is so expensive. That's such a terrible book, in my opinion.
It's a Golden Age book.
I know, but it's still bad. It's not like it's great. You know, Mr. Freeze isn't that great of a villain, anyways. I know a lot of people talk about that book, and
well, like X-Men #1, it was 6.5 slabbed. It was going for $10,000.
Jesus, that was one of the books that when I first got back into it, I had on my radar and to get for like a couple $1,000s at the most.
Yeah,
and that and AF-15 have both just shot up ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
the first appearance of Moon Knight.
Yeah,
it was a 9.6, $5,000.
Jesus. Yeah, this Bronze Age stuff. I mean, people out there, if you're collectors, I'm telling you right now, start hoarding that Bronze Age stuff because that stuff is starting to shoot through the roof.
I took a picture of this Jack Kirby sketch. It's Dark Side, but it was just his back, and it said, signed by Jack Kirby, $2,000.
Yeah, a Jack Kirby autograph, man.
Yep, just the Jack Kirby autograph by itself.
Yeah.
But there's like a bunch of different ones. Like the one I wanted to buy is from Supergirl #3, and it was they had a page from the Zatanna storyline because I have the comic, and there's a picture, like a bunch of pictures of Zatanna, and I wanted to buy it, but it was $400, and I was like, that's too much for me. It would have been nice. But yeah, if you get to look at my pictures, there's an original Infinity Gauntlet page, and they didn't have a price on it, but it's the one when I think just before he snaps his fingers. So it's really nice seeing that in person. It was really cool.
Wow.
That's what I went for, like seeing original art, the original comic book art.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about. But I had a lot of fun. It was worth it to me.
I agree with you. The one day turnaround, I think it's the way to do it. Just go in there, you do everything you need to do, and you split.
Yep. It's nice to sleep
Saves
in your
a lot
bed
of money.
Yep. A lot of money.
You woke up in your bed, and you went to sleep in your own bed, but you still went to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
Because I mean, it's easy. Just get off the plane. It's a short walk, a short bus ride, and you're there.
Yep.
It's really easy.
On the way back from the con to the airport, my bus actually hit another bus, or another bus hit our bus.
Like pretty much
a bus hit your bus.
Yeah, another shuttle hit our shuttle.
Like, did anybody get hurt?
No, nobody got hurt, but
I would have said,
like,
back in my back. I need money.
Our driver was pissed off.
Yeah, I would have fell on the ground and started flailing all over the place.
You need a backiotomy.
Yeah.
But it was definitely worth it.
How much time did you get to spend in the con total?
So from when I arrived to the con, the front steps, it was 9:30, and I left at 5:45, 6 o'clock. So that was what, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6. So almost 10 hours.
Wow.
And that's more than enough for one day.
And I did 13,000 steps. So that's 6 miles.
Wow.
6 miles of walking. It was a lot of fun. If you're going to go there and you don't want to spend the whole time there, you only have planned for one day, it's totally worth it. The first time you go, do as much as you can, and then the next time you go, it's worth it to do it one day. Get the experience that you already had, and you already know what to expect, and just enjoy it for that day. That's all I can recommend, really. Like what Kyle was saying, it's totally worth it just for one day.
Yeah. Gotten pretty crazy though, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's gotten a lot crazier. From the first time that I went till now, the first time was so calm compared to this. But anyways.
That sounds. Yeah, San Diego's cool. It's just all the people. It's just too busy.
Yeah, it's crazy busy.
It's just cool. Just I don't know. You're kind of caught in this, like, I call it like a vortex. You're like, I don't want to go because I don't want to spend all the money and get stuck in the mobs of people, and it's too crazy and too expensive to do. But then when it's there, you're like, oh God, I wish I was there.
I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this.
And then you're just like, and then you didn't get tickets, and then you see everything going on, and you're like, I wish I was there. Why did I think like that?
Yeah, I remember seeing Matt make a couple posts like, why am I not in San Diego this week?
Well, that's how I felt the one year I missed it because of my stroke. Because when I first went into therapy, they asked me, like, what goals are you striving for? So my very first goal was to go to the airport and go to the con. And from what I learned, so Matt took my badge, scanned it and everything. So once he did that for me, or he was going to do that for me, my goals changed. Like, I regret not going, but looking back on it, it's better that I stayed and hit my goal for driving than than going to the con or going to San Diego Comic-Con.
And you got to go the next year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because since Matt, scanned my badge, I'm like, all right, well, next year I'll have 2 chances and, I'll be good. That was nice.
Very cool.
So I think that wraps it up for this episode of Absolute Geek Podcast. I'm Kyle.
I'm Jose.
I'm Brian from the flip side.
And we have no outro music, so we'll see you guys later.
Later, bitches.
Later.